Hi, everybody. Good Friday and good weekend to you. Wrapping up this week tonight, we'll have coverage of yesterday's McGoffin County Fiscal Court meeting. Some more indictments to add to yesterday's list. I've got highlights from last night's Belfry-McGoffin County High School matchup, an update on some scores and schedules for your weekend, and some other news and information to pass along to you, including a forecast, which, I've been kind of alluding to the fact that winter was about to make a return or getting close to. Not so much in the forecast period. It's still going to happen, but right now we're talking about rain and warm weather for the most part, and definitely for your weekend. More on all that and more. Birthdays and some other announcements before I leave you for what I hope is going to be a wonderful January weekend, albeit for you. The Johnson County Sheriff's Department is asking for help from viewers in the area or anyone who may have some information about a house and a vehicle which were shot up by so far an unidentified suspect on Friday last week of the 13th. The Sheriff's Department says they've opened up an investigation and are currently now seeking the public's input and help and maybe some answers to a situation after they got a complaint of a man who had shot into a home on Rothwell Branch in the Stambo community. The Sheriff's Department, specifically Deputy Brad Caldwell, answered the call. However, the subject had already fled the scene, presumably on foot, just as or just before he had arrived. He did, however, that being the deputy, find what he counted were 8 bullet holes, one of which had gone through the front door of the home, and he also found that the windows had been shot out of at least one of, if not more, of the victim's vehicles. No injuries were reported. We want to make sure we stress that. Can't stress that enough. However, the incident is under investigation. Deputy Caldwell and the Kentucky State Police have been conducting interviews and following up leads, and if you have anything to add to that case, they greatly appreciate it. Call the Sheriff's Department at 349-3411. Former Mayor Bob Porter of Paintsville, as we recently learned and followed, sentenced to 4 years in prison, as well as 2 years supervised probation, and of course some other stipulations in regards to not having any access to excess alcohol. He's also been ordered to report to prison 60 days from sentencing, which falls on March the 13th. The federal prison so far not designated. Nevertheless, he has now filed notice of appeal in the case, as was his right to do so within 14 days of sentencing. And as of earlier this week, he has officially done so, appealing his case. Also appealing their case are McGoffin County Magistrate Gary Rooster Reisner and McGoffin County Deputy Court Clerk Larry Shepard, both of which receiving accolades from Judge Executive Harden during yesterday's regular session of the McGoffin County Fiscal Court. We'll have that coverage as well as other business taken up during the court as well in just a few moments. Right now, some more indictments to add to the list. I brought you last evening a list of indictments returned this week by a sitting Johnson County grand jury. There were about 5 indictments that I did not have accompanying photographs with, and therefore were not included last night, as just a mistake on my part. However, to make sure that we cover all 19 individuals which were indicted this week in Johnson County, we want to be sure that we add those indictments to the news tonight. 23-year-old Timothy Hall was indicted on account of criminal mischief in the first degree, a Class D felony, and being a persistent felony offender in the second degree. The Staffordsville man was charged with these before the grand jury, or by the grand jury, after evidence presented before them indicated that sometime around October the 13th, while being incarcerated already in the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center, that he damaged property within the jail, a total of $1,325 in damages. He was already jailed on charges of possession of a meth precursor, as well as fleeing or evading police on foot, and criminal mischief and persistent felony offender charges after being jailed on September the 26th. He was ordered held on another $10,000 bond for the indictment charges. This case brought before the grand jury by Officer Nick Taylor with Paintsville PD. A Heather Barker of Sitka, Kentucky, was indicted on account of theft by unlawful taking, ordered held on a $5,000 bond after being indicted for stealing an iPhone 6 from a Phoenix resident of Hager Hill. And an Ariel Calhoun of Paintsville was indicted on account of trafficking in a controlled substance. 1 to 5 years to serve, not more than $10,000 after trafficking at least 3 dosage units of a Schedule III narcotic. She too ordered held on a $5,000 bond. And these two people were indicted on charges related to the burglary of a Johnson County residence. The grand jury indicted two people, a Brian P. McCord of Van Leer and a Christina Kestner of River, Kentucky. They say that together the two acted together and committed the offense of burglary in the first degree when they went into the home of a Mr. James Music of Hager Hill with the intention of burglarizing his home, armed all the while with a dangerous instrument. They were ordered held on a $20,000 bond each after being indicted on a burglary in the first charge, first degree that is. 10 to 20 years is the penalty. To get high-speed internet on their state-of-the-art fiber optic network for all of your home and business solutions, or to watch TV without a contract on over 200 digital channels with superb quality, or stay connected with family and friends with 24/7 telephone service you can always depend on, contact Foothills Broadband today. Or just click on their link to the right to find out how they're working to provide the latest in communications at affordable prices with exceptional service at Foothills Broadband. Several items discussed in a relatively brief McGoffin County Fiscal Court meeting yesterday afternoon. Their regular session included discussion about support for the McGoffin County Senior Citizen Center in lieu of a contract with Big Sandy Ad to help them obtain some monies for a transport van, as well as appointments to the tax board, appointments which have apparently fallen behind, and the judge recommending one and making another appointment to that board, as well as some other discussion and a word of thanks and praise for two men convicted of buying votes in McGoffin County, both of which still on the job, as you will see from yesterday's coverage, and both still to report to prison at the end of this month. As most often is the case, the meeting began with standard operating business, approval of the previous minutes, approval of the bills, also fund transfers, this time around $30,000 from the general fund to the jail fund and $20,000 from the general fund to the LGEA fund. The court discussed a resolution which they approved for a Kentucky Homeland Security grant, which they hope to obtain, which would fund 2 more weather or warning sirens for portions of McGoffin County. The fiscal court also approved a contract with a Big Sandy Ad for $750 for the work that they will do in an effort to, and the work they have been doing in an effort to acquire money for a senior citizens transport van. And then they had the following discussion about making appointments to the Tax Appeals Board, to which appointments apparently were past due.
It's my understanding that this Tax Appeals Board got kind of out of whack over the years, and that if I understand it, the judge would appoint one, the fiscal court under a recommendation appoints one, and the city would. And the PVA has asked that the judge do a 1-year term, and then in a year it'd be a 3-year. The fiscal court would do a 2-year term, and then the next appointment would be for 3 years, and then the city would do a 3-year term. Does that seem reasonable, Mr. County Attorney?
Judge, I've read the statute. The statute requires when the boards are initially set up, there's a 4-, 3-, and 2-year terms, which basically means that every year there's one appointment made, first by the mayor, second by the judge executive, next by the fiscal court. So every year you have one appointment made on this. Like you said, I went back and looked through the minutes. The last appointments I've seen in here, like I said, they kind of got out of line. We made an appointment back in 2012 on the board. Debbie was appointed then. If we assume that was correct, she had the 3 years then on that. Come back in 2014, she and George were put on there, reappointed on that. Also, there's a paragraph in there that requires, though, a hiatus of 3 years. So right. You have to stay off 3 years.
Right, I understand.
Either one of those appointments wouldn't have been, yeah. Either one of those would have had to wait 3 years to have been appointed.
So what do we do now?
Basically, we've got a blank there.
That's what I'm saying. So
yeah.
Can we do it that way, or do we? How do we
so
run it back?
We couldn't put either one of these.
Right.
You need a new appointment,
and
it would only be for, at this point in time, depending on where the mayor's at. When was the mayor appointed? See, this is our records I've got. I don't know when the mayor last appointed one.
Well, Jerry had looked at it and said that he thought that it would get in if the mayor did the 3 and the fiscal court did the 2 and the judge did a 1. So
then you'd be back to the 1 year, and each of them serving 3 years.
Yeah.
That works for me. If that works for them,
anybody have any objection to that approach?
You're back on schedule again when you do that.
The judge is going to appoint Mr. Homer Salisbury and make the recommendation of the fiscal court, Mr. Delbert Bailey. Is there a motion to second those?
I second.
Motion been made and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And Judge, you want to specify in that
The judge will be, the one will be for Homer Salisbury.
For
The
two
two will be for Mr. Delbert Bailey.
Very good.
And the mayor will get the 3. Next year there'll be, the one will go to 3,
And real quick, what is their terms? Can you give me that?
one judge appointment will be
Take
Homer
effect.
Salisbury for one year.
So that would be 17 through 18.
Yeah.
And Delbert Bailey will be
17 through 19.
Yeah, 2.
Okay.
And then the mayor's got to do what he's got to do. If not,
That way you're back on sync again.
that we're back on sync.
Another discussion centered around the proposal, I believe, by the judge executive and discussed amongst the fiscal court to the legality of adding delinquent garbage bills to property taxes in an effort to recoup those monies. To which the court was advised by their attorney, Greg Allen, that in order to make sure that the citizens that would involve would have due process, that it should be looked at further. They asked the Solid Waste Committee to go ahead and over the next 60 days review that and report back to the court. And you too may have noticed what the judge called the elephant in the room, that both Magistrate Gary Rooster-Reisner and Deputy Court Clerk Larry Shepard were still on the job, with the judge's final remarks of the meeting saying that he had hoped that they would be back to serve the county, giving them both high praise. 2 men that the government, of course, says conspired to buy votes for themselves or their spouses, and that of Judge Hardin, and who a federal jury found guilty of such, sentencing them both to nearly 3 years in prison, to which they have to report 13 days from now, thus this being their last meeting.
I would like to say that the obvious elephant in the room is that it's with a heavy heart. There may be a couple people that are not here for a temporary, hopefully, temporary period of time. The county clerk's office has been a pleasure to work with. We've not had any problems, we've not tried to run each other's office, and that's in no small part due to the deputy. I have had the honor of sitting in this fiscal court with many magistrates, and there's not a one that say here that I didn't believe that in their heart wanted to do a good job, whether they disagreed with me or not. But I've had 2 with the best heart in the world. It's Kenneth Oxshire and Gary Rooster-Reisner. There's a lot of things said about a lot of why blacktop was put a lot of places, but I'll give you an instance. When Rooster and I were out looking for roads, quite frankly, that's how I decided the roads. District 1, District 2 and 3. Randall and I went out, and we were out at midnight looking at them times. Rooster and I went out 2 days. I think we got done at 2 o'clock one morning and 3 o'clock the next. Both times we left when I was shining that spotlight. And I have this rule when I'm campaigning or anything and people come with a gun, it's time to go home for the day. But he showed me this one road. I understand the time to register to vote's open. And the people on this road weren't even registered to vote. And he looked at me and he said, "Doc, there's 4 kids walking in the mud on this county road. Do you think we could do it?" And I said, "Well, Rooster, I might be a politician, but at least I'm going to try to be as good a person as you are." So we did it. I've had him on more than one occasion come tell me he didn't care how anybody voted, didn't care if they was registered, they needed help. I am proud to have known and to serve on the fiscal court with Gary Rooster-Reisner. But I'm even more proud to call him one of my best friends. And in the words of Governor Burton Jones, when he told the people of McGoffin County, "I'm the doc, and if you're a doc, I'm with you. If you're a guinea, I'm a guinea." I'm with Rooster-Reisner now, and I'm a guinea, Bates a guinea. I make a motion to adjourn. Motion been made second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. We adjourn. Thank you for your attendance.
More headlines in a moment. Right now, a quick look at tonight's Magoffin Farm Bureau community calendar. With a couple of birthday wishes, and thank goodness this is a friend of mine, because not only did they send it in yesterday, I spoke to her yesterday, and I still forgot to put it on, and she probably thinks it was intentional, but it's not. But now it's belated, and it's my fault. A happy birthday, Josie Bailey, from a whole lot of family and friends. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, I called the sheriff's office, Johnson County, and she was even eating birthday cake, and it slipped my mind by the time I got back. My apologies. Birthday wishes going out to Jared J.D. Bailey. Happy 31st from your wife Audrey, Mom Brenda, and Jesse, and Sarah, and looks like little Joe, and family and friends. Happy birthday, J.D. Bailey. A reminder that this Tuesday is Senior Day, beginning bright and early at the Water into Wine Food Pantry at the Lakefront Church of God, 8:30 till noon. On Tuesday is Senior Day for the Food Pantry, and the regular day is the following day on Wednesday, 8:30 till 3. And a reminder about the big fundraiser for Project Graduation here in Magoffin County. Chocolate-covered strawberries, $25 a dozen. Milk or white chocolate, order by February the 9th. Pick them up on Valentine's Day. Call Becky Allen at the high school, 349-2011. And, as is always the case, this is how you get birthdays, anniversaries, and announcements on the news. And one last reminder about services to be held tomorrow morning at 11 for 88-year-old Goldie Lovely Wireman of Trace Fork, who passed away earlier this week, preceded in death by her husband, Cleedith Wireman. She survived by a daughter, Patty Oxshire. Visitation is tonight and up until services tomorrow morning at 11, all from the Magoffin County Funeral Home. We had a lot of ground to cover this week in basketball highlights and scores, and we'll add to that tonight. Several games taking place throughout the viewing area last evening, some district matchups as well to talk about this evening as we look ahead to the weekend. No changes at all for the Lady Hornets since the last update that I had for you last night. Just a quick reminder that they are traveling to Central tonight. That's right after a win over Allen Central that put them even on the season at 5-10. They're on the road to Johnson County tonight. Tip-off set for 7:30 at Central. As for Johnson Central and the Golden Eagles, they were in action last night. They were on the road at Knott County Central, where it was a loss for the Golden Eagles by 67-78. It was their second loss in a row. They've only had 6 at Central. Nevertheless, so that puts them at 13-6, still 1-2 in the district. They're also playing in the Hatfield-McCoy shootout at Williamson. Tip-off for that game is set tonight at 8 o'clock, so they're definitely on the road. They're back home on the 23rd, which, of course, will be next week. No change in the Lady Hornets or the Lady Eagles update, as we kind of already covered as well. They're hosting the Lady Hornets tonight at 7:30, still 13-5. In other boys action, Tigers and the Bulldogs did face off last night. Paintsville hosting Lawrence County, and they got within striking distance. Final score 81-88. So it was a loss for Paintsville, and actually the 6th in a row. Nevertheless, that puts them at 6-11 on the season. Not a district game. Obviously, they're still 0-4. As for the Tigers, they are going to be on the road at Russell this coming Tuesday, the 24th. Tip-off set for 8 o'clock. While nothing has changed for the Lady Tigers since last night, just to let you know, though, they are still set to be at Sheldon Clark tonight. That's going to be a wild one. The Lady Tigers still only 1 loss on the season at 17-1. And, of course, this is a district game tonight. And they are right now undefeated in the district as well, and the region for that matter. And the Lawrence County Bulldogs, as I just covered, they did take out Paintsville last night, 88-81. That bumps them up to 12-7 in boys basketball. That also puts them hosting South Floyd tomorrow at 3:30. Right now in your regional standings, mind you, Johnson Central's 13-6 first, Magoffin County 13-7 third, Lawrence County 12-7 in third. Did I say second for Magoffin County? I did, didn't I? 13-7 and in second. In Lawrence County, 12-7 and in third. And nothing changing for the Lady Bulldogs either. 57-59, their last contest, lost by 2 against Prestonburg. They're at Belfry tonight, 7:30. And for our viewers in Morgan County or Cougar fans at large, In the third round of the 16th Region All-A tournament, the boys fell to Elliott County 45-73 after wins in the first two rounds of the 16th Region All-A. Elliott County 73, Morgan County 45, so the Morgan County boys fall to 8-11. But look at this. Yeah, they're hosting Elliott County this Tuesday night in their regular season matchup at 7:30. So while it's not going to be in the All-A Classic, I can guarantee they're looking to even that one up. And the Lady Cougars, nothing has changed since last night. They're at Paintsville tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 after a loss to Menifee earlier this week, 41-46. Now let's go to the McGoffin County High School. I've just got the pause button in effect right now. Hang on, getting ready to hit the go button right now and go back to action. The Hornets hosted Belfry last night in a regional matchup. This, of course, following their regional loss to Pikeville just a few days ago, 56-73. So McGoffin County looking for some much-needed motivation. Last night's regional matchup was somewhat of a cold start for the Hornets, but they had enough in them early to keep it even, or at least close to an 8-7 Belfry Pirate team who was looking for a win to even them up on the season, with the Pirates drawing first blood. And with the Hornets still down 4-2 after 3 minutes and 30 seconds of play, Trenton Russell scores the Hornets' second basket of the night. And here's Jaron Lovely reminding us how good he is at the basket and one to tie it at 7. But Belfry, that came to play, they made a little run, and they were up with a big 3 and a bucket to follow, 9-14. Still, a little later, up 5 at 11-16. But Peters, 4-2, and with a little team effort, McGoffin County stays in it for the first half, with Russell putting the moves on the Pirates for the first McGoffin County lead of the night, 21-19. They would tie it up 25-25 at the half, and the Hornets held on to take the win at home, 46-40. That means McGoffin County advances to 13-7 overall, 10-3 in the region, and they're off until next Friday night's district game at home, where they're favored over the Paintsville Tigers, but where anything can also happen. And that's a pretty good segue for your forecast, isn't it, in Eastern Kentucky and Kentucky at large, where anything can happen. Well, here's what's happening. I could have pulled down the yellow, where did that come from? The wet or rainy backdrop, but I was hard-pressed on time, and it's suitable for the forecast after today and after at least the first half of tomorrow. So maybe in a few days it will go from wet to maybe white. We'll talk about that later. As far as your forecast is concerned, I'm at 56 right now, falling into 6:30 time frame. 50 degrees is where we should bottom out tonight, which is a nice place to fall. Mostly cloudy skies, nothing more than a light, a light south wind. For Saturday, mostly cloudy for most of the day or afternoon. After 4 o'clock, we start to work in some showers. A 20% chance that they'll start to finally work their way into the area, but showers will increase in a likelihood tomorrow night. Don't be surprised if you hear a few thunderstorms as well late tomorrow night, too. Showers will add up with some rainfall amounts, maybe a 10th quarter of an inch Saturday night. Then Sunday, still 61 and 47 and still wet. Definitely wet. Showers and thunderstorms. We're talking about a total of a half to 3/4 of an inch of rain to fall on your Sunday. It won't be rainy from start to finish, but it will be more rainy than anything else. That's for certain. But 61 and 41 and a wet one on your Sunday. And we'll take a little hit temperature-wise on Monday, 51 and 49, back closer to where things should be, but still cloudy and still full of showers. I mean, start to finish, a good chance of showers pretty much all day long on your Monday. Tuesday, temperatures come back down to 40, and they stay there. Yeah, that's not a misprint. 40 for your high on Tuesday night, 40 for your high Tuesday, 40 for your low Tuesday night. Yeah, some early showers, but I think they'll pull out early, and we might even see, look at that, a little sunshine above on your Tuesday. Might be slow getting there in the morning. And then I think mostly sunny skies are going to be in the mix for Wednesday, and temperatures rebounding back close to 60. For most of the day, we'll see the sun. We'll have a 30% chance of showers making its way in town Wednesday night, and those shower chances continue on into your Thursday, and with chance of snow showers makes its way into the forecast period by next Thursday night. And that's going to wrap it up for programming for this week. I'm already dreading how it's going to be in the blink of an eye that I'm going to be sitting here saying it's, and then in the blink of an eye that we're back and starting off another week and the weekend's gone. But nevertheless, I hope that you're here with us when it does start next Monday. Thank you all for watching and have a good night.